welcome back to Hard to Master. It's Jeremy, and today I want to look at mind management. Specifically, I want to talk about the solo and cooperative modes, which you will need the app to download. It's a free app that you can download on the Apple or Google Play Store, I believe. And in mind management, this is a game that's going to be heavily involved with hidden movement. And so in the normal game, you're going to have one player that's a recruiter. You're going to have all the other players be the rogue agents. Well, when you play solo, you will always be the rogue agent. And you're going to load up the app. You can start with the training mode, which I would recommend. It helps you learn how the game is played. I played the training mode several times to get a feel of the game before I went to the full game. Now, you could probably start after the first one, but I really wanted to get a sense of how the app worked and how the game plays. In addition to that, once you get into the full game, you're going to be adding more components to the board and adjusting some rules so that both sides are going to have more complexity in how that they do their actions. In mind management, like I said, there's a recruiter. They're going to be moving around the board, and they can only move into each space one time. They're going to start the game moving multiple times so that you don't pinpoint them on the first guess. They're going to start in a spot and move 4 or 5 spaces before you even get a turn. You're going to set up around the board. In addition to that, there's going to be some other tokens that may block your movement and might allow them to gain recruits. The recruiter wants to gain recruits. If they gain the recruits fast enough, the game will end because they have to reach a certain amount. If they don't, they're trying to extend their time moving around the board to make it till the final time slot. As they move around, they're going to be trying to get to different locations that have certain icons because each space is going to contain 2 symbols or icons. And they want to get into those spaces so that they can get more recruits. And I will post pictures to make everything easier to see on the screen. But they want to gain recruits. In addition to that, they do have Immortal Tokens when you're playing the full game, which will want to pair up on certain icons, and those will allow them to gain recruits as well. And those cards will look like this. Again, they'll have the different icons, and those icons are the ones that they want to move to. But in addition to that, in the app, it's going to tell you to pull out cards, and it's also going to show you on the screen which icons the Immortals are trying to get to. So to be honest, you could technically probably play Mind Management, the solo game, without the game, but I don't think it would be beneficial because you wouldn't have things like these note tokens. You wouldn't have an actual grid that you're following, places to put notes, things to put on the board to symbolize that they've done something or you've done something. Yes, you could essentially take a notepad and write, A, B, C, D, and create a grid. That way, I just feel like that'd be more trouble. And then when you went to play with other people, it wouldn't be very good. When playing solo, I will say that it's nice to have one player kind of operate the phone and operate the app. And then it's good for the other person to kind of manipulate the board, moving the different tokens. I found playing solo that I had the tokens on the board, but I didn't move them as much. I kind of just ran things through the app, and I was like, oh, shoot, this person's here, and I played catch up. One thing I did for sure do after a while, and after Jay sent me a video on how to do a little bit better, because I was doing very awful at it in the beginning, is using these tokens. As you learn to use those tokens, it does become more efficient. Because what you're trying to do is on your turn, you're moving around the board as a rogue agent, and you're trying to ask some of those icons, whichever ones you're on in the Immortals or not, because not only do they get recruits by being on those spaces, but they block you from asking those icons, which makes it much harder for you to locate where the recruiter is. So you're going to be moving, you're going to be asking them different icons, and if you do find an icon, they're going to symbolize it by placing one of these feet on the board. And that foot token is going to represent that they were there at some time. Now usually they're going to put the oldest time because they're farther away from that, but as you go, you can then remove this token to reveal, and they have to tell you which exact spot they were on and that time, so that hour of the day that they were there, which helps you to deduct where they are currently or where they've gone from that point, which icons I want to ask about next. In addition to that, you can capture. So if I've located them and I feel very confident about where they are, I could do the capture action. I'm on the space that they're at, and I'm going to try and capture them at that space. If they're there, then I win. If not, it's going to tell you you're wasting time. Don't do that unless you're for sure. Another thing that the recruiter has is they have a potential mind slip ability. And so they're in the core game, before you unlock any additional content, you have 2 people. So that mind slip token allows them to jump an additional space. So they could maybe hop over where they were and throw you off of their scent. And so it's between this and the temple space, which the temple space allows you to move diagonally and kind of get into a different region, whereas all the other places I have to either go up, down, left, or right. But the temple does allow you to move diagonally, and if they have the pipe girl as the recruiter, then that's going to allow them to move an additional space in diagonal, whereas usually they can only move diagonally from the temple spaces. Whereas the admin, he lets you just jump up an additional space when moving your normal movement as the recruiter. And the app's going to do all that for you. So the AI does an amazing job of moving around the board and making it difficult. I can tell you, solo, I did not capture them after probably about 8 tries. I played it cooperative, and we caught them on the second full game try. We kind of hinted out the scent of him and just had him pinned almost the whole game. So the cooperative game, I will say, is an amazing way to teach this game. I would hate for me to play against people that haven't played it because I've done it so many times. So I'm going to kind of have a sense of what I'm doing, how I'm getting recruits, and I'm going to do that quickly because it's a lot easier to win by getting recruits than it is to just stall out those 16 hours of the game. So it's very important that I teach the other people how to play correctly before they get thrown into this, situation where they're just feeling beat up. And we'll talk about it, one thing that will help that in a little bit. But if I teach them through the cooperative app, that's going to allow for them to learn the game. And I start my friends with training, and they actually really enjoy the game from that point. Then we throw in additional content, and they like it even more. They start to figure out actions and things, and I try to tell them to not really worry about certain actions at this point because they're going to get more as they go. And once they understand these very basic actions, it becomes a lot easier. In addition, when you go to the full game, your characters are going to have abilities. And those abilities are going to let them do additional things to help you try to find the recruiter. You also have an ally that you can get when playing the full game, and you can unlock more potentially. But that ally is going to let you have a one-time ability where I can discard this card. And for instance, you start with this Black Ops Dolphin, so I can start with this card, discard it to reveal all of the icons that recruiter has gone through in the game. So I may want to save this for a little bit so they've moved a little bit more and then try to reveal it, hoping to find 2 or 3 feet that can help me guide to find out where they are towards the end and actually capture them. Another amazing thing about this game, and it's not like that in a lot of hidden movement games, is it makes it a little bit more balanced if you're struggling for one side versus the other. It's called the shift system. And the shift system has 7 boxes for each side that as you play, if, say, the recruiter wins, then the rogue agents are going to open that first shift system box. It's going to give them an additional benefit or bonus that helps them have a little bit better chance of trying to find the recruiter. And if they don't find him the next time, then they get another additional benefit. Whereas if the rogue agents are finding the recruiter pretty easily, they're going to gain benefits that help them to maybe prolong and win the game. So it's a really cool system that balances, which a lot of hidden movement games don't do that. Another thing is they usually let you move around the board and you can double back on the same spots. I like that this game doesn't. It helps to deduct where that player has been versus just kind of blind guessing a lot of times. I'm not usually one that likes hidden movement games. I don't feel that I'm very great at hidden movement games a lot of times because I feel like the hidden character has a lot of movement, and then some instances you're playing some of them and the multiple people versus you is much tougher as that one person. I really like this one though. I really like how it feels way different. There's some restrictions that make it a little bit easier, like you have a chance to find them, but they still have like that mind slip token, and they're you know, you have a potential, you don't know exactly which one, but you have a couple different options that they could get away from you. So those are really cool things. Now, the app actually has the shift system built within. So if the AI beats me, I'm going to get that shift system upgrade. Now, it is going to be slightly tweaked from the core game when you're playing multiplayer, but it's a similar item and feel. And it does a wonderful job of balancing it a little bit. The AI is not easy at all. It is a tough AI to beat. It is beatable. We finally did beat it on our my 11th game, but I'm afraid to try it again now because I know that after beating it, it has an upgraded ability that I can choose to throw in the game to make it even harder. So I love that you can make the complexity higher. You can challenge it for either side if you need to. But the shift system for the AI and the solo/cooperative is only 3 boxes. The 4th one just says, hey, you've been defeated. So the other 3 are going to add a bonus, which makes you play a little bit more competitively against the AI. The AI has 5, so I'm assuming they have 4 boxes. I haven't gone that far into it to see how brutal it can get for me, but I imagine it can get pretty ramped up just like we can gain those abilities too. So all in all, Mind Management by Off the Page Games, to me, is an amazing hidden movement game. Again, it's a game that I don't usually, or a genre that I don't usually gravitate towards. I've played this with multiple friends now and taught them the way that I've explained to you, and they all really enjoy it. They want to play it again, and it's hard for them to want to pack it up based on time because they want to just start over and try to beat the AI again, or get into a multiplayer game and actually test out being one of the sides. So for someone that's not on hidden movement, my score might be pretty high for that category because I usually don't like it. I feel that this game is an 8 when I give it a score. And the main points are, it's based on a graphic novel. I love the usage of comics. I love comics and graphic novel art in games. I love that the app does an amazing job of letting you play solo, but also teaching it to other people in a cooperative sense, making sure that they learn the game appropriately in the different modes, which can help you learn it even better. I love that about the game. I love that it's a little bit restrictive on your movement that makes it capable that you can catch the other person. So those are some of the things that, and we didn't even talk about the secrets. Let me just tell you, there's a lot of secrets around the board where you can use this time token to decode what it's saying. There's a website where if you see these 3 squiggly lines, you type in that word and it can unlock more content for you that if you have the retail game, you can print off. If you do have the deluxe, like the components I'm showing you in this video, then the deluxe game is going to have those hidden in an envelope where you can remove them from the envelope. It tells you which envelope, and then you'll add them to your game. That content can be used in every game going forward. As long with the shift system, a lot of those will unlock additional content for the game that don't have to do with that specific shift box. That shift box components are listed on the back of the comic rulebook that comes with it, and it tells you what to put back in that if you're just wanting to, take that shift box out of the game. So a lot of amazing content in this box. Jay knocks it out of the park with this one. I'm so excited to get it to the table. I've been playing it a whole bunch in the past several days, teaching it to a lot of people. So if you have a chance, you definitely want to check out Mind Management by Off the Page Games. Definitely try to find a deluxe if you can, but if you can't, retail is also available and you can check that out. Retail is going to give you like cardboard standees, cardboard punchboard, things like that, so the upgraded components. So it's not like you're missing out on a whole bunch, but I will say the deluxe components are nice if you can find a copy. So please feel free to subscribe and like this video. That way you can be notified if when we put out additional content. Till next time, I'm Jeremy, and we'll see ya.